Following the signs, hello, welcome in. This is going to be a reading for the full moon. We've got the lovely big voluptuous full moon in Aries happening tonight at 14 degrees. So it's definitely been building, and I feel like, if anything hasn't already come to a head for us all over these last few weeks of the eclipses, well, now's really, really going to be pushing you. Cardinal signs will be potentially feeling the most heat from this moon, and it's mainly going to be that driven aspect of breaking away from these limitations that have kept you stuck and bound. What has been circulating through your head over the last 9 months? What has been coming up for you? What won't go away that maybe you have been, still somewhat in a state of fear in holding on to what was? So we've got the sixth house. The sixth house. How come I can't speak? I don't know. The sixth house is ruled by Virgo and Mercury, and it's really suggesting that now is a time to really be focusing in with all this energy that's going on. Your health is really important here, not just your physical health, but your mental health as well. The sixth house does speak of routine, our daily practices, the everyday nitty-gritties of the things we don't really particularly want to do, but must. Things could be coming up for you in regards to the way you work, in regards to the way you feel when it comes to looking in the mirror. A lot of you could find yourself really drawn to new alternative practices that are, Reiki, meditation, different modalities that are really going to be supporting your health throughout this time. And a new approach. This card really suggests there must be a new way to do something. And so whatever is coming up for you at this time of this full moon, consider how you're actually feeling. Like, how are you feeling in order to be able to cope with these energies that are coming up? So it's very much a time to slow down. The Virgo card, sixth house, does also suggest you could be feeling a little critical of others, or you could be feeling that others are highly critical of you at this time. This card also suggests, trips to schools, libraries, in order to gain and get more information. There's a real analytical need here to investigate and to not overlook the small tasks. It's not about looking at the bigger picture here. It's looking at all those little mundane things that make it all come together. Change is happening for us all. It's inevitable. And, it's at a point now where resisting change becomes, more exhausting than just going with it. So let's have a look. Let's see what this full moon is bringing up for you here, and, how you can work with the energies to get the most out of it, really. So I'm going to use the Gilded Tarot here today. This reading may or may not resonate. Who knows? This is collective, so use your discernment. Take what fits, leave what doesn't. And don't force things to fit either. But this is a general reading. This isn't going into, personal scenarios. This is just going to be looking at what the moon could be really, spotlighting for you at this time. Got a couple that want to come. I'm going to leave them, and I am going to pull these ones here. I love it. I absolutely love it. So the spotlight, what this full moon is bringing up. And here we are. We've got the Queen of Wands here. Aries energy, Leo Sagittarius energy here. But this is really, really talking about how you show up in the world. What are you putting your time and your energy into at the moment? And who are you allowing to control that for you? The Queen of Wands is a confident woman. She's very much get up and go energy, isn't she? Very determined, very charismatic, and very capable. Not the sort of woman who's going to, take you off the beaten track. If we can say that. I know she likes to have a good time, but what I mean is this woman's honest, as well as, straight up as well. I feel like this moon is really, really bringing about, breaking away from the crowd. Okay, she's not giving Morticia Adams vibes, but she's very much walking her own path here. However, she's also highly approachable. She's someone that can be, great at giving advice, great at looking at, outside the box and making something from nothing here. This moon is really highlighting, the times in our life where we have turned our back on ourselves. The times in our life where we've downplayed our abilities. The times in our life where we've allowed others to take control. Queen of Wands likes to be in control. This is really about taking control of your life, your body, your health, your creativity, and whatever it is that you're really wanting to bring into fruition here. What has been working for you currently is your humility. A lot of you are very nurturing and very much, looking at growing something in your life based on the things that you already know. It's like you're not going to be, taking chances on things that you're not passionate about. You've really been focused on growing the things that have been working for you. Self-care practices that you may have recently started, investing into your home, into your family. And also opening up to, potential of the life that you are creating for yourself at this time. Things that haven't been working for you is we've got the 8 of Wands here. So it's like there's been, maybe you've had issues with trying to get your message out, or issues with communicating, or even receiving communication from others. This could really indicate getting lost in that energy. We don't have any people in this card, but we have sheep. And it's like maybe you have been paying a little too much attention to what other people think, or other people's opinions, or, trying to dissect other people's intentions and thought patterns and ability to communicate. And that's clearly been exhausting. It's probably resulted in a lot of letdown, resulted in a lot of failed plans, or lack of ambition, lack of drive of, everything I've been doing hasn't been working. There could be a sense of depletion with this too, feelings of anxiety, feelings of stagnation that you could be currently dealing with. But what you have learned about yourself is that you are someone that's willing to take a chance. What you've learned about yourself is that, down in the pits of rock bottom, that you're still willing to look up and reach for the light. You may have been in these really dark and vulnerable places. However, you've still chosen to go on. The choices that you make, you are very well aware of the impacts that they have on how the rest of your opportunities play out. And at times these have been failed plans. Sometimes maybe you have felt you've surrendered and, fully immersed yourself in a new path, but it still hasn't felt like the right one. You know, you're really encouraged by the fact that change doesn't scare you so much anymore. It's more the follow through of the change. You know, something that does want to transform in your life. We've got the Queen of Cups here, and that's your ability to connect with your heart center, with your emotional state, with your, who you offer your love to. Very, how do I use my empathy in a way that's not going to be at a detriment of myself, of my own sovereignty, of my own boundaries. Learning that you can have empathy and compassion without signing your life away, or without feeling like you need to overextend, fix, potentially things that aren't your responsibility. Now, I really feel like this full moon, like even though it's very interesting, we've got this very masculine full moon in this feminine sign. And so it's very much allowing those two energies to come together, knowing that you can be strong and be feminine, knowing that you can be feminine and also be strong. There's very much a big highlight about the physical body here, and a lot of energy that's really suggesting the good work that you are doing for yourself here. Now, the cards that jumped before, we had the Nine of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Lovers. There's a real, like your destiny has been calling you, and a lot of you could be really feeling like, destiny is now looking somewhat of a solo path, or it may feel like your destiny and being on this solo path is actually what is truly leading you to your own divine connection here. Ace of Pentacles. There's a lot of new opportunities that are coming in towards you at this time. This could be really a new opportunity for understanding like your vocation, or for understanding your life's purpose and where you want to be heading towards. A lot of you are very certain that you don't want to remain in energies that are disappointing or that make you feel like you are an outsider. This moon's very much bringing in, that real call and that need to speak your truth and to allow yourself to be your authentic self. Aries is the warrior. Aries is very self-driven sign. They often get, that stereotypical rep of, impatience, bluntness, and, whatever else they say about the Aries. But, when we really look at the sign, it's a very courageous sign. And, they don't always have all the answers. However, there's always a potential for growth.